I hold my hand here and I erase between my finger and thumb so that my paper's not moving all over the place and it doesn't get all wrinkled up on me. I can use my pressure. I can press really hard to make a dark line and hold it a lot lighter and press the paper lighter to make a lighter line. So when you're drawing, you want to be more towards this side of lightness because you can't erase this. So when you're first starting out your drawing, you should go nice and light till you get it right. That way you can erase. When I go to erase this line, it's nice and easy. Notice how I did it between my finger and thumb. Then when I go to erase this line, it's a lot harder and you can still see it. Artist pencils range in value, going from light value all the way to dark value. This is dependent on how hard or soft the lead is. HB is kind of right in the middle. That's the kind of pencil we normally use in school, a regular writing pencil. The highest number is the lightest color, lead. B's means soft. You can see how much darker that is. That's because it's the softest lead. When you're using these, this is for 4th and 5th grade only, please get your own pack so they don't get mixed up, and just put it right back in the box when you're done with it. Shading is showing value with a colored pencil. Notice how I'm using the side of my tip instead of the top of the tip. Right now I'm pressing hard to show a dark value, and as I go along my box I'm going to lift my pencil up more and more to make the value lighter. There's a lot of different techniques you can use when you're drawing. One is called stippling, and stippling is just using a lot of tiny little dots. Now I could make a whole picture out of tiny dots, kind of like Georges Seurat does. Almost like pixels make a picture on a digital image. Closer together the dots are, the darker the color appears. The further apart the dots are, the lighter the color appears. Hatching is the next technique. A lot of comic book artists use hatching and cross-hatching. Hatching is shading or coloring in an area using your line all in one direction. Notice that I put my lines close together, basically touching to make it darker, and the further apart my lines were, the lighter the color is. Cross-hatching is using line going in one direction. I'm going to cross my lines on a diagonal just like that, and it makes it look darker. So my lines are closer together and they're crossing each other to make it darker. Scumbling is scribbling, except it's controlled scribbling, a lot of small scribbles. The further apart the scribbles are, the lighter the color looks, or the lighter the value is, and the closer together the scribbles are, the darker the color looks. Working with a sharpened colored pencil when you're coloring is important. This is not very sharp. Do not sharpen colored pencils in the electric sharpener. Please use a handheld sharpener. Turn the colored pencil sharpener instead of your pencil, and it sharpens it a lot better without breaking. Now that I have a nice sharp point that's not too sharp because it'll just fall off otherwise, it's a lot easier for me to shade. I always start light to dark, so see how I'm overlapping? I'm going over top what I already had part way, and I'm coloring in the same direction every time. Pastels are even the best thing to blend, but I can't get a lot of detail with these because they're really thick. SGRAFFITO is putting down 2 thick layers of color, so I'm making a nice solid layer of my bottom color. I'm going to go over it with a solid layer of a top color. If I want to smooth out my color, I can color in the opposite direction. And then I'm going to use a scraping tool, like a toothpick, and draw in my design. First, I'm going to make sure that I have my picture all the way down about even, that there's no empty spaces halfway up. I'm going to fold my paper right where I drew that line. And I didn't actually draw my picture exactly in half. You could fold your paper first and then draw it, but I didn't care too much about that. So I folded mine right on the line here. And then on this part, this empty part, I'm going to paint just plain, clean water. You want to use a big watercolor brush for this, or a large flat. I'm not putting a ton of water on. I'm making sure it's completely shiny all the way. And you gotta work quick because water evaporates fast. So now I work fast. I painted my water on. I'm going to press using my whole body weight and my flat hand to do this. I could even use a marker. This is called burnishing, where my marker is smoothing and flattening that paper. I open it back up. It's created a reflection of the city, so it almost looks like a city on the water. You can also use water to blend color or to soften a drawing or a part of a pattern. I can create a tie-dye effect using an absorbent material like a paper towel or a coffee filter by folding or twisting the paper towel or coffee filter into smaller parts and then coloring really dark on top. Next, I spritz with water using a spray bottle, or I paint with water using a paintbrush. And when I unfold it, it creates a tie-dye effect.